Gojo Satoru is one of the coolest characters in recent manga, but I'll even go as far as saying in manga in general. Everything is great about his character, whether it is his design, his abilities, his personality, his charisma, or even his creativity at that. In today's video, we're going to be discussing his abilities as well as his character. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. And I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the month, but only subscribe if you enjoy the content I put out. And since you all showed some love and reached 50 likes on the toji video, here is another Jujutsu Kaisen video. But this time, let's try to get this video to 50 likes for a GodlyOmen sukuna video. But with all this being said, let's get into it. First thing first, Gojo Satoru is the strongest in the series, and to avoid wasting time, every time I say the strongest, I'm counting sukuna with him. So I won't have to say except sukuna or debatable with sukuna every time. He is not only very strong physically, but his speed is also unmatched. He has great reflexes and tactical intellect, on top of basically having infinite curse energy. While characters like Yuta and Sukuna have more curse energy than him, having the 6 eyes, Gojo burns such a little amount of energy every time he does something that he basically never runs out. To put it as simple as possible, Gojo is number 1 or 2 in most categories, and even in the categories where he is outlast, he has something else to make up for it. So now it is time to talk about his curse technique. Gojo's innate technique is the limitless. With the use of curse energy, he has control over space on an atomic level. The first ability within the limitless technique is the infinity. Infinity is basically the space that separates you from Gojo. It acts as an invisible barrier, as the closer you get, the slower you get, making sure that you never make contact with him. And then there is Blue, which is probably Gojo's favorite ability. As the story goes, we get more and more information about the way he uses it. And this is the main ability that shows how creative he actually is, as this ability can do quite literally everything. He can use it to pull somebody towards him by erasing the space between him and that person. He can use it to teleport by erasing the space between him and his destination. He also doesn't have to be included in the equation, as he can pull objects to a specific point like planetary devastation from Naruto, and that specific point could be the enemy directly. He even sometimes uses blue as telekinesis. For example, during his fight against Sukuna currently, he first lifted a bridge and threw it at Sukuna, and then in a recent chapter he threw a traffic light at Sukuna without making contact with it. We also recently learned that Gojo's regular punches aren't actually regular punches. The first reason for that is that his punches are enhanced by curse energy. The second reason for that is that he uses blue to pull the target towards his fist. Basically, as seen in Vinland Saga, Thorfinn has a technique to tank punches. It consists of moving away from the punch at the right moment to avoid taking the full impact. Gojo is the opposite of that, because he pulls the target towards it, creating an even bigger impact. But if only he just pulled it towards his fist. He actually uses it to crush the target of his punch from multiple angles, causing characters as strong as Hiromi to struggle to heal themselves from it. Usually, reverse curse technique should get you back to normal, but Hiromi was still hurt from Gojo's punch even after that day. There are still more uses of blue, but I'm going to move on because it is going to be too much and you already get the point anyways. The next ability is red, which is basically the opposite of blue. It is the ability to push things away, which is represented as a beam that Gojo shoots from his finger. There's not as much to say about this ability because it is always used for the same reason. It is either to push somebody away or to deal big damage to them. Next is a combination of blue and red, which is hollow purple, which combines attraction and repulsion, creating an imaginary mass that destroys everything on its way. The 6 eyes also allows Gojo to see things that other experienced sorcerers wouldn't be able to see. But on top of everything I stated, Gojo is also an expert of reverse curse technique, probably being the best user in the series despite being a human, because curses are supposed to have a more effective reverse curse technique. But even a curse like Mahoraga, whose only role is to adapt to things, wasn't able to withstand Sukuna's malevolent shrine. Sukuna's domain sliced him so fast that even though it wasn't an attack that would erase him in one hit, it still took a considerable amount of damage from it, while Gojo's reverse curse technique kept up with it, and he was even able to outclass Sukuna in his own domain. Gojo is also a great user of barrier techniques, like curtains, simple domains, or even fallen blossom emotion, which is a technique that is passed down in the big 3 families. And for Gojo's final technique, we have his domain expansion, the Unlimited Void, which consists of filling the opponent's brain with so much information, but keeping those informations incomplete, not allowing his brain to understand the information, immobilizing the opponent completely. The speed at which the information is being sent to the brain is so high that even top tiers like Sukuna cannot withstand it for more than 10 seconds, causing a part of Sukuna's brain to fry, not even allowing him to use his domains anymore. And to end this section, Gojo is also one of the only sorcerers or curse that can heal his burnt out curse technique. even though it causes severe brain damage after being done multiple times. Now I know the ability section was way longer than usual, but that is just how big Gojo's catalog is. But now it's time to talk about his character. While Gojo can sometimes seem like a careless teacher that has no depth in his character except being strong, his character is way deeper than some people may think. The truth is, Geto was not the only person affected by the events in the past. Becoming the strongest made Gojo feel lonely, and got him to realize that even with all that strength, he can't even save the people he cares about. Gojo is looking for an equal. He is looking for somebody that can be as strong as him or that can surpass him. Somebody that he could share his problems with. And before he became the strongest alone, he had Geto by his side for that. We can see that during the mission to protect Amanai. When they were on the beach, we could see Geto worrying about Gojo, asking him if he was doing okay because he kept his technique active for a long time and didn't even sleep. And to that, Gojo simply responded that if there was an issue, he could count on Geto. But right now, there is no room for that. Gojo is alone and is the only one that can do what he is doing. And even though he doesn't show it a lot, Gojo is also capable of human emotions. The best example of that is currently during the Sukuna fight. It is true that he's smiling throughout the whole fight because he's still enjoying himself. But there is a side of him that despises Sukuna, because Sukuna caused so much pain to Yuji and Megumi, who are basically his sons. All the depression that Yuji had to go through because of Sukuna's doing, or even Megumi getting his body stolen and being used and hurt for multiple purposes. After Gojo was able to do enough damage for Sukuna for his domain to break, they got in a hand-to-hand combat sequence. And in that sequence, we could see Gojo really putting the hands on Sukuna, not giving him any chance to breathe and punching him everywhere, pulling him back towards him and doing everything, to ultimately be able to hit Sukuna with his domain. And after stabbing him in the chest with his hands, Gojo still wanted to do more damage to him. And that's when Gojo said, "I will leave him in a worse state than Yuji was at the juvenile detention center." Meaning that Gojo still remembers those events. We could even see his frustration when Yuji first died. He even thought about just going and ending it all on his own, because he didn't want more people that were close to him to go through things like this. So basically, this beating was Gojo's revenge to Sukuna. Gojo wants to destroy Sukuna and wants to deal as much damage as possible. Another example of that is Gojo going straight to Kenjaku after he got freed. I don't think Gojo had a problem with Kenjaku for stealing him. The main problem he had with him was stealing Geto's body. And since he couldn't do anything about it the first time, he had to go back and finish the job. And if Sukuna and Yorame didn't intervene, Gojo would have got his revenge on Kenjaku. But in the end, the reason why Gojo doesn't go all out and kill everything by himself is for that goal he has, finding an equal or somebody that can surpass him. Him taking care of every possible problem would not forge his students the right way. He needs them to evolve, he needs them to actively take part in fights, and he needs them to go through things to awaken. But despite having that goal, Gojo still thinks about destroying everything, and that is because he's still capable of human emotions. Even though he has a plan and a goal, sometimes he will think about forgetting about it and just solving all the problems because there's too much frustration that comes with forging his students. Being the strongest, Gojo feels more like a force of nature than a character. You have villains and characters that have plans that consist of either keeping Gojo out or finishing before Gojo gets there. It feels very different because this time the strongest is on the good side. But instead of the strongest being the embodiment of justice, basically making sure to eradicate all evil, Gojo emotions sometimes take over. Like for example, keeping the last finger hidden from Sukuna, just to make sure that Yuji never gets the 20th finger, because whenever he gets it, that will be his execution. Him now wanting Yuji to be executed, he kept the last finger away. Which is crazy because even Yuji was okay with that plan. He was down to eat all the fingers and then get executed whenever it has to be done. But Gojo, who is supposedly the law himself, is going against it. Gojo's character is a complete anomaly. He hates the higher-ups, and there is even the possibility that he is the one that killed them before the Sukuna fights, even though it isn't confirmed. Gojo could be an unstable force. As we know, he is always on the right side and is always trying to do things to protect his students. But the higher-ups never know if he is going to be on their sides or not. Especially them killing Gojo's teacher after he got sealed. For example, them ordering the execution of Gojo's teacher, or even the execution of Yuji whenever Gojo got sealed. It would have been possible for Gojo to want revenge after that, whenever he comes out of the prison realm wanting to destroy everything, considering the fact that his mental state could have also been bad in the prison realm. There is also the fact that trying to free Gojo would have been labeled as a crime, basically meaning that not just villains want to keep Gojo away. Politicians and higher-ups also have some types of plan that they want to fulfill, which is impossible while Gojo is around, which is further proof that they could be seen as villains themselves. Let me know what you think about Gojo's character as well as his decision to keep the last finger away from Yuji. Do you think it was irrational, or do you think it was the right thing to do to protect Yuji? I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to leave a like. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of August, but sub to me only if you enjoy the content that I put out. Get this video to 100 likes for a GodlyOmen sukuna video. You can let me know in the comments if you have any criticism or character suggestions for future videos, and I will see you all next time. Peace.